Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yashar's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But you know how we do it by now. Before I do that, first and foremost, let's give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Raha, Rakah, Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways, pushing this word in truth and sincerity, all praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women, all praises to you too. And the camps and the solar brothers going out there making videos, edifying the body, pushing the truth according to scriptures, all praises. Now, what I am going to touch on today is the Galatians chapter 3 and verse 8. It's the verse where it says, this is a verse that Christians love to quote, in Galatians 3:8, where it says, in you all nations of the earth are blessed, as in Abraham. Because of Abraham, all nations of the earth are blessed. Now, why I'm going to this, because two of my brothers was out on the street in the week, and they was chatting to a Christian, and after the Christian bringing out his philosophy, he claims it's coming from the Bible, but all he was doing was quoting scriptures. He never read a verse. He only quoted scriptures, while my two brothers was reading a verse, and they was trying to show him where he was erring in the scriptures, but he still couldn't he still wouldn't have it. Now, that, if you want to check out that video to see what I'm talking about, it's a very good video. If you want to check it out, you have to go to our main channel, which is called Yahweh's Messengers, and the video you need to look for is the one that says, this two-edged sword is sharper. It's lucky. It says, this two-edged sword is sharp. This two-edged sword is sharp. And then it says, brother gets cut and leaves still being in darkness. So that's what the title of that video is. I'll repeat it once again. It's on our main channel called Yahweh's Messengers. I'll put it on the screen, the name of our channel, so you can actually tap it in. And the actual video is, this two-edged sword is sharp. Brother gets cut and leaves still being in darkness. Now, so I want to bring some clarity to that same verse also, because there are some people that watch my videos, so I want to show especially Christians where you error in that verse, as in to say, in Abraham all nations are blessed, because like my brother said in that video that I'm talking about, there's a stipulation. And the funny thing is, even when he said to that lost Christian that he was talking to, when he said that people forget the stipulation, now the guy didn't even know what he meant about stipulation. So just in case you don't know, I'll say that people forget there's another side to the story. There's there's another side to it. So that stipulation meaning there was another condition to all nations being blessed. In Abraham, all nations of the earth being blessed. There's the stipulation, or another way you can say, there's another side to that. Yeah. So you have to bear in mind there's another side to that. So it's not as clear cut as it sounds. And we're going to go into the scriptures so you can see the flip side of that scripture. In order for all nations to be blessed, along with Abraham, there is something all nations were supposed to do in order to be blessed. But Christians don't read that one. All they just like to say is Abraham was blessed, so in Abraham's blessing, all families of the earth are blessed. And then they try to say the promises and everything. But they have to remember, and you have to remember, the blessings are different from the promises. So that's another thing you have to be aware of. Don't get it twisted. Don't think the blessings are the promises. The blessings are different from the promises. And I'll show you that too in this lesson. So, without further ado, let's not beat around the bush. Let's go straight into this. My opening verse will be Galatians chapter 3 and verse 8. And then we're going to, go right back into Genesis where this all begun. And then we're going to break this down and let's see how all nations will be blessed through Abraham. Let's see how that was meant to be, or what they had to do in order to be blessed. And if they didn't do that, now do they still think they'll be blessed? There's the point. Now, without further ado, I've got my timer and I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Boom! We're away. Let's go straight there. Galatians chapter 3 and verse 8, and it reads, "And the scripture, foreseeing that the Most High would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, In thee shall all nations be blessed." Now that's the part I'm really tackling, is the part where it says, in thee shall all nations be blessed. That's what was said to Abraham. Now, let's go back in time. Let's jump to the book of Genesis, chapter 12, and we're going to take it at verse 1 first. Yeah? Watch this, yeah? Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1, and it reads, Now Yahweh had said unto Abram. Now this is before his name was changed to Abraham. It was Abram. So remember that, yeah? So it reads, Now Yahweh has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. Verse 2. And here we go, listen to this. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Now, this is when the Most High told Abraham to leave where he was dwelling and his father's house and go to a place that he would show him, and then do all this and you'll be blessed. Remember, this is obedience. See, this is what you have to remember. He obeyed the Most High's voice. He didn't just sit there and believe and think, oh yeah, I believe you, Yahweh, but did nothing. Yeah, he believed and he did the work to show his faith. He did as he was told. So remember that. That's where the faith came in and the works, because he didn't just believe. He actually did as he was told. He left the Father's house and went up, to where the Most High told him to go. So that's just showing you one account of where he was, deemed righteous because he believed, which was faith, because he believed what the Most High said, and he did what he was told. He obeyed the Most High's voice. Now, here's another account. Watch this. We're going to stay in Genesis, but we're going to jump to chapter 22 and verse 2. Watch this. Genesis chapter 22 and verse 2, and it reads, and this is again Abraham, yeah? This is Abraham, and this is what the Most High is saying to Abraham. I'm taking it in verse 2. Listen to this. And he said, this is what the Most High said to Abraham. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac. Now, notice how the Most High only recognizes Isaac. But remember, at this point, he had already had Ishmael. Remember, he had Ishmael with Hagar, and now, which was, Sarah's bondservant, yeah? And now, notice how the Most High is only recognizing Isaac, even though he already has a firstborn, which was Ishmael. Bear that in mind. Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 22 and verse 2. I take it from the top again, and it says, "And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee." Now, when you read on, you will see Abraham did as he was told. He got his son Isaac, took him up to the mountain, and he was going to, got the knife and he was about to slay him, offer him up as a burnt offering. And then the Most High said, "Well, now I see you definitely fear me, because you never withhold your son from me. Now I know you fear me," and all that. And then now his actions again was counted for righteousness, and he also believed whatever the Most High said. He didn't question it. He believed everything. So showing you that where his faith was counted for righteousness, but he also did action also. Bear that in mind. Now, let's jump back to Genesis chapter 12, and remember I did first read 1 and 2. Now I'm going to read Genesis chapter 12 verse 3. But first let's go back to Galatians. Let's just give you a recap. Let me go back to Galatians chapter 3 verse 8, where I started. And remember Galatians chapter 3 verse 8, and it reads, "And the scripture, foreseeing that the Most High will justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, In thee shall all nations be blessed." Now that's the verse like I started off with, saying what Christians only read and they stop there. In thee shall all nations be blessed, but they forget this part. Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 12 and now verse 3. Listen to this, yeah? Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3, and it reads, this is now the Most High blessing Abraham, because he was obedient. He believed and he was obedient. Listen to this, yeah? Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3, and it reads, "And I will bless them that bless thee." Here's the point. "And curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." Does that sound familiar? In Galatians 3 and 8. So now it's showing you that the Most High will bless the nations that blessed him, and curse the nations that cursed him. Bear that in mind, yeah? Now, we'll stay in Genesis once again, and we'll jump to chapter 18 and verse 18. Listen to this. Genesis chapter 18 and verse 18. And it reads, "Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him." Right, you see, now we're reiterating that again, but remember what Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3 said. He will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. Now that was Abraham. Now remember, Abraham had a son, Isaac, yeah? Remember, Abraham had a son, Isaac. And remember, Abraham also had a son, Ishmael, first. Now watch this. Genesis, I'm going to take it at Genesis 17, and I'm going to read verse 18 first. Listen to this. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 18. And this is before Abraham has Isaac. This is when Abraham only had Ishmael, and the Most High sent an angel telling Abraham telling Sarah that she was going to have a son and name him Isaac, and in him where the covenant and the promises was going to be. And she didn't believe, but she told Abraham, and they laughed because they were saying, how is she going to have a son in her old age? And anyway, but that's just a quick story. But watch this, yeah? Genesis chapter 17 and verse 18. Now listen to this. And this is now, remember, he only had Ishmael at this time. Now listen to what Abraham says to the Most High concerning Ishmael. And it reads, Genesis 17 verse 18, and Abraham said unto the Most High, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. Verse 19, and the Most High said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant. And listen to this, and with his seed after him. Now notice it says seed, not seeds, not plural. It said seed, singular. Yeah? And listen to what verse 20 says now. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 20. And this is concerning Ishmael. And this is what the Most High said. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him. So you see, Ishmael's had his blessing. Listen to this. I have. Didn't say I will. It said I have blessed him and will. Now see, now here we go. And will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begat, and I will make him a great nation. Showing you the Most High, showing you he have blessed him, because excuse me, my throat is a bit dry. He have blessed him, and he will make him fruitful. He will exceed him, and and he will multiply, and he will be a great nation. Now, if you look at the Ishmael who come from Ishmael, the Arabs and all them, are they not rich? Are they not living large? So they've had their blessing. So what more do they want? Yeah. Now, watch this. Now I'm going to jump to Genesis chapter 27 and verse 26 into 29. Listen to now. Slucky. This is Isaac blessing Jacob after the son he had. Remember, they had, Rachel had Esau and Jacob. Now this is Isaac, Jacob's father, blessing Jacob. Now I take it there. Listen to this. Genesis chapter 27 and verse 26. And it reads, and his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. Verse 27. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelt the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. Listen to verse 28. Yeah? Verse 28 of Genesis 27. Therefore Yahweh give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Now here's the point now. Verse 29, listen to this. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Here we go. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Now, that's the same blessing Abraham got. Remember? It came down from Abraham to Isaac. Now from Isaac to Jacob. So he's still showing that the only way the other nations will be blessed, they have to bless now like Jacob and his seed. If not, if they curse Jacob and his seed, they'll be cursed. So bear that in mind. Now, remember that. Now watch this. I'm going to jump back to Galatians chapter 3. Now jump down to verse 16. Listen to this. Galatians chapter 3 and verse 16. And it reads, now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. Now notice it said Abraham and his seed, singular, were the promises made. It's gonna even make it clear. Watch this, yeah? I'll read on. He saith not as to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is the Messiah. Now you notice how Galatians 3 verse 16 makes it clear that the blessing went down to seed, like to Abraham and his seed, where the promise is made. He saith not and to seeds as of many, but as of one. Now, you have to remember, Abraham had Ishmael, then he had Isaac, and then which was with he had Ishmael with the the bondwoman, which was Sarah's handmaid. Then he had Isaac with Sarah. And then after that, he ended up, after Sarah died, he took another wife, Keturah, and he had 6 more children. So he had 8. You can check that yourself. If you go to First Chronicles chapter 1 verse 32, it names all these 6 children he has with Keturah, the second wife, which was his concubine. So now Abraham has 8 children. And remember what these scriptures have said? This is why it says that, showing you that the promises only went to one of these 8 children, not all 8, which was, from Abraham. Remember, the one of these 8 children, which would be Isaac. And then now the scripture shows you it went from Isaac to Jacob. And obviously from Jacob, it goes to the 12 tribes, Jacob's sons, where you have 12 sons, and it goes to them. Right, so I hope that's clear. Now that's the blessings, yeah? But watch this. So you have to remember, so when you saying all through Abraham, all nations of the earth are blessed. Now, has all nations blessed the children of Israel, the blacks, the Hispanics, and Native Americans? They've taken us into slavery. They've done all sorts. Anyway, watch this. I'm gonna prove that. I'm gonna even prove that. Watch this. I'm gonna jump to the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. Listen to this, yeah? First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. Listen to what this says. What nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Now, you see, there's a question mark. So it's a rhetorical question. The Bible showing you what nation haven't had part in the Israelites' kingdom, hasn't spoiled them and gotten of their spoil. What nation hasn't put us into slavery? What nation haven't slain us, raped us, robbed, murdered? All nations have done that. So they haven't blessed us. So if they haven't blessed us, they've cursed us. So what do you think their blessing's going to be? Bless them that bless thee, and curseth he that curseth thee. All the other nations on this planet Earth haven't blessed us. So they're cursed. Simple as that. Now, that's the difference between the blessings. Now, the promises are different, because now when you go to Romans chapter 9, I'll jump there quickly. Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. Listen to this. Actually, I'll take out verse 3. Romans chapter 9 and verse 3, and it reads, For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. Verse 4. This is Paul, yeah? Verse 4. Who are Israelites? So he's showing you these people he's referring to are Israelites. But listen to what pertains to the Israelite. To whom pertaineth the adoption through the Messiah's death. We are adopted back in the covenant because we were backsliding heifers. We fell away. The glory, the kingdom, only Israelites. When you look at Revelations, there's 12 gates and the names are written, 12 tribes of Israel. Only the Israelites. The glory is the kingdom. And the covenants, the old and the new covenants, only pertain to Israel, the Israelites. And the giving of the law. Why is the law done away with when Romans 9 says the giving of the law? So the law is still being given. So the law ain't done away with because it's the giving of the law. The Israelites, the service of God, only the Most High, only the Israelites can serve the Most High, because we're the only ones doing it correctly anyway. And the promises, which is Deuteronomy 28 verse 1, that he will set us on high above all nations of the earth if we keep the commandments. That's what that's showing you, yeah? So that the promises are only the Israelites, but the blessings were the other nations will be blessed if they bless the Israelites, which they haven't. They've cursed us on every turn you could imagine. So if they've cursed us, curseth thee that curseth thee. Can't get any clearer, yeah? You know, can't get any clearer than that. So we must not, Matthew chapter 7 verse 6 says, give not what is holy unto the dogs. So we mustn't give the other nations our blessings and our promises, because it's ours, yeah? It's not theirs. And that's according to scripture. So I hope you got something with that. This is Yasharallah. We out.